Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what today is? It's Monday morning chats with Sack, and Sack is me. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. I hope that you guys had a great past week. And if you did not have a good week, then I hope that this week is even better. So last week, it was hectic for me. I taught classes back to back Tuesday and Wednesday. However, I typically teach Tuesdays and Thursdays. But Wednesday was crazy because I had my class, I had meetings on top of meetings, and I did not get a chance to get any fresh air. And so one thing about me, one thing that my colleagues know, the ones that got a chance to have a conversation with me know that when I'm on campus, I do what's called a mental health walk. So I'll walk for like 15 minutes around the area just to relax, let my mind at ease, and then get ready to wrap up the day. So it's usually midday that I do my walks. But Wednesday, I didn't get a chance to do that. So I was like, yeah, let's make sure moving forward that I make time for these walks, irrespective of how many meetings that I do have. But overall, it was a good week. It was a productive week. And every week I'm trying to figure out how to become better, how to become a better person, how to become a better professor, how to become a better friend, just overall just a good woman. And so, but this past week I went to Reedville, Virginia, and it's about 3.5 hours away from Baltimore, 2.5 hours away from DC. I want to say that it is more going west, I believe, but I would have to look on the map. I just know it was in the country. And I went to a writing retreat with my colleagues, my other black women law professors. And what we did was, for a writing retreat, we get together to focus on articles that we are working on. Some of us are even working on books. But it was great being in that space with other women that look just like me doing the exact same thing. And there were some women that they are not junior faculty, they're tenure, and they were able to give us junior faculty some great candid advice. And it was something that I needed, to be honest. Like, I thought that going to this writing retreat is just mainly about just getting our work done. But we were able to come together, fellowship together, talk about just life, how to balance life, how to really enjoy what you do, how to demand what you want. But most importantly, never forget that you are the CEO of your life, right? You control everything for you. Like, you are pretty much the captain of your career. You can go left, you can go right, you can go up, you can go down. It's all up to you. It's all up to you to make those decisions that's going to work best for not only for yourself, but also for your family. So if I had to label this, I read something yesterday because I like going to different social media pages that have nothing but positivity or mental health tips. Like, that's something that I really enjoy. And for the comedy. So there's comedians that I follow. Sometimes I just need that laugh. And if I had to label this talk today, it will be you manifest the stories that you tell yourself. So just think about it. So just think about when you wake up, what do you tell yourself? Throughout the day, what do you tell yourself? Do you tell yourself positive things? Do you tell yourself that you're not possible, you can't do it, and you're not sure, you're hesitant? Like, what are the things that you tell yourself? Because the things that we tell ourselves can manifest. It can blossom. It can become our reality. So that's why it's important to be careful how you speak about yourself, because your words are powerful. The tongue is very powerful, right? So if you say, hey, I'm not worthy of this, chances are you may not get that, right? If you say that, hey, I don't deserve this, I don't deserve this type of love. I see this a lot on social media where some people desire this type of love, whatever it may be, but they self-sabotage themselves and think they're not deserving of it. Why? I don't know, right? I don't know why. But you have to look at yourself and say, hey, what am I telling myself on a consistent basis? Because these things can manifest. If you say that you're not beautiful, you're going to feel it, and people will see it too. If you say you're not handsome, people can see it and you can feel it too. So what are you telling yourself? Because these things that we tell ourselves, it can come to pass. But if you look in the mirror and say, hey, I'm worthy of this, I'm worthy of this job, I'm worthy of this degree that I'm pursuing, I'm worthy of this house that I want, I'm worthy of the car that I dreamed of, I'm worthy of the life that I pray for, I'm worthy of the marriage that I desire and I pray for, I'm worthy of the children that are not here yet, but the children that I do pray for, I'm worthy of that. I'm worthy of just all positive things coming my way. And you have to speak those things so that way they come into existence. But if you're not, it's not going to happen. And so during this week, we just talked about, hey, what do I want? And I was so grateful to be in that space because they get it, right? Because they're in the same profession as me. And I've learned my conversations will differ depending on the people that I'm talking to. I love my family and I love my friends. And, when I was telling them I'm going to a writing retreat, they just thought it was so cool. But they didn't know the gist behind it. Like, they didn't understand it, which was fine. And when I told them, like, hey, I'm writing an article, they're like, Zach, what do you need? You want me to look over it for you? Like, what do you need? And I appreciate it so much. And they may not be able to pick out things that I don't need or things I do need because they're not looking at it from the lens that I would need them to look at. But of course, I would let them read and say, hey, let me know what you think. But they just been so supportive, like, hey, what do you want? And, I'm having friends and my friends, family members are sending me articles like, hey, I think this would be a good read for you. And it's been helpful. And I've learned that, when you are manifesting things that you want, most times it's not going to happen right away. And so I've learned that I am patient, but I can be impatient sometimes. It's an oxymoron, right? But I've learned that it's going to come. So just chill out and just be cool. But what I've learned is that when you're manifesting things and you are speaking these things into existence about the things that you do want, God will send you help, right? God will send you people to help you along the way. I truly believe that we are better together. I believe in partnerships in all different capacities. And when you are dreaming about things and you're talking about the things that you want to accomplish in your life, God will send you angels here on earth to really help you. But are you willing to get that help, right? And sometimes people struggle with help. I know that I do at times because I want to make sure that the help is sincere. But I'm getting better at that. And so I am welcoming help, especially when it comes to this new career that I'm in Legal Academy. Just being open for feedback, being open to grow, because the professor that I was 2 years ago when I first got into Legal Academy, I'm not that professor now. And so I'm just learning as I'm going along, like reading these articles of, okay, how can I become better? What are some different teaching techniques? So that way I can teach. And I know that for me, what was a turning point for me was teaching a class about 2 weeks ago. And I want to say 3 weeks ago. And my students looked like a deer just hit them. Like, they were just out of it when I was talking about different things related to tax. And tax is very complicated and it's hard to find tax professors. And when I was going over this subject matter, I went home and said, did I do enough? Right? And I know that I love teaching and I know that I love helping people, but did I do enough? And I started to speak these things like, wow, am I a good professor? Because my students are not getting it, and what am I doing wrong? And I had to really change how I was speaking to myself and say, hey, no, Sakina, you are a good professor, but you're a good professor. Instead, let's teach this subject a little differently. And that's what I did. So I called my brother and I was like, Keenan, like what was considered a good professor for you, right? What was considered a good professor for you? And he told me, like, my brother is my go-to person. And he was like, hey, why don't you do this? Like, Sakina, you're smart and sometimes you may, teach at a high level, but think about it. Some students may not get it. And I was like, okay, I get it. And I understand. And I prayed about it, and I was like, God, you know, what can I do to make sure that these students understand everything that I am trying to teach? And I had thought about what I said in my interview to get this job. Teach students where they are at. And I thought about it. I was like, okay, when I was a student, how did I look at this subject matter? And I was like, hey, this was difficult. And so I went back, I looked at my syllabus and said, hey, for the next week, I said, hey, I know I'm supposed to teach this, but I want to do something differently. I want you guys to just listen to me. So we spent the entire 3 hours of class just reviewing everything that we talked about up until today. Like, I broke things down. I said, hey, you know, every week we do a review, but today I'm going to do an extensive review of everything, right? I'm going to do an extensive review of this entire class. And after that class, you can see the light bulb just going off. And then after that class, we just kept going back to the material and say, hey, well, all right, let's go back to what we talked about last week, right? Last week we talked about X. How does this apply in your case? And they would tell me, and I said, okay, let's change the facts. How does this apply in your case? And I realized that if I kept telling myself that, hey, I'm a bad professor and my students are not listening to me, they don't get it, and maybe I need to choose a different profession, like, I'm speaking negativity into myself. And so I had to, like, change the script and say, hey, I know that I'm a good professor, I'm a great professor, but let me change it around so that way they get it, right? Let me change it around so that way they understand. So what are you telling yourself, right? What are you telling yourself? You can have what you want, right? Whatever it is, you can have it. And it's funny because I wrote these things, the things that I want, in my prayer closet. I have a prayer closet, and I have notes, like sticky notes, where I post them around my closet about the things that I want. Sometimes it could just be a scripture, and I'll say, God, based on the scripture, you said that I can have the desires of my heart. These are the things that I want. Even in my prayer closet, I will pray for people. They will never know. And I will post them in my prayer closet. And I also have a prayer box. My prayer box have different things in there. Also have prayers, also have scriptures in there that I read. And those are the things that I manifest. Like, hey, these are the things I want, God. I know that you will make a way. So that's all. Like, you know, you have to, like, really speak positivity in your life, because you can have what you desire. You can really have that. But are you speaking positivity in your life? Because you can the stories that we tell ourselves are the things that we manifest. So what story are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself a positive narrative, or are you telling yourself a negative narrative? It's all about how you see things. The next thing is what I got from this writing retreat. It was very inspiring. And without going into detail what we talked about, if I had to give you like a title of this weekend, it was to jump, right? To really jump. You don't know how far you can go unless you jump. So why don't you jump? Just think about that career move that you want to make, but you're hesitant, you're scared. But how do you know? Unless you go out and jump. Let's say that you want to buy a house and you save, but I was hesitant to buy a house for a very long time. And I was hesitant because I kept hearing that, hey, you know, you're your own landlord, and if something goes wrong in your house, you're responsible for paying for it. And that put so much fear in me, because I was like, what if I don't have the money? What if I can't pay my mortgage, right? And God showed me that if I really trust him, I can do it. And when I first bought my house, 3 weeks of being in my house, my basement flooded. I was like, here goes an expense. Basement flooded. And now I have to, at first I thought about getting a roof repair, but I had to get a new roof. I was, you know, I did not want to pay for a new roof at all. Like, no, I don't want to pay for this. But God was like, I got you. I got you. And he got me, honestly. Because I thought about what I want to spend that money on. Like, God, I lost all this weight. I'm looking slim and trim. I need some new clothes. But this thing right here is more important. But besides that, are you willing to jump? Are you willing to say, you know what? I'm going to take this risk on whatever it is, right? And about your career, make that jump, right? What's stopping you? And I kept telling myself this, and my colleagues kept telling me, like, hey, you can jump. You can go after what you want. I read something about some people being afraid to love because they've been hurt before. But how do you know the next person you love will be your last love, right? The person that you'll spend the rest of your life with. You would never know unless you jump. Unless you jump. Fear stops us from doing so many things. But what if we didn't have the fear? Think about all the things you would do if you were not afraid. Think about it. All the things like you really want to do, but you're not afraid. Would you jump? Or would you just stand still? Would you be just hangman, just rocking back to forward and not moving forward? But why don't you jump? Why don't you jump? You can do it. You can really do it. That's all I have for today. So one, you manifest the stories that you tell yourself. So make sure you tell yourself good things. And jump. Take that risk. Whether it's love, whether it's a business venture, whether it's changing your whole career. Maybe it's quitting your job and starting a new business that you dreamed of. We only have one life. And just imagine if you were on a hospital bed and you were living in your last days, can you say that you made a jump? Can you say that? Or will people know you as a person that was afraid? Make that jump. Make that jump. That's all I have. I hope that you guys have a great Monday. I hope that you guys have a fantastic week and just know that you are great, you are amazing, you are phenomenal, and you can do whatever your heart desires. It's so funny. I just realized this. So I got these flowers last week. I got them from Giant. And I will say that I'm starting to buy flowers as I do food shopping, and supermarket flowers, one of my friends agreed with me, supermarket flowers are legit. All you need is $10 and you can buy yourself some flowers. You can buy yourself one bouquet or two bouquets. It just depends on the cost of the flowers. But I did some research because I love flowers, and if you put ice cubes in there, they're supposed to last longer. So I had these flowers for a week and they're still good, right? They're still good. I do put spring water in my flowers. Yeah, I'm a little pretentious at times. But have spring water in here. And let's see how long they last. But my supermarket flowers, they last for some time. So if you want some flowers, you don't have to buy the most expensive ones. The supermarket flowers will do. You could try Trader Joe's. It's good. Whole Foods, Giants, and Safeway. I don't really care about Walmart flowers, but those places, they're great. They're definitely great. But that's all I have. This video will be posted on YouTube later on today. It'll be available here on Instagram for 24 hours. But it is Monday, so I would like to shout out to all the dope men out there. You are amazing. You are great. You are spectacular. And I hope that you receive the love that you need, whatever that is. Men are taught to be masculine and not to cry and, keep their stuff up. You're supposed to be strong all the time, and you don't have to. I hope that you realize that you don't. And I hope that people give you the space to really express how you feel. I hope that. And for everybody else, have a great week. Have a great Monday. And be mindful of the things you tell yourself. Take care, guys.